Kia ora, good evening. Welcome to one more session of Code Night New Zealand. And tonight we have special guests from Italy. We have Angelo Golisano and Nicolo Ferranti. How you guys? How you doing?
Hi all.
Hello, hello everyone. Thank you, Marcel. Everything okay?
Nice. Well, I'm excited for this session. Where you guys? Well, I'm just reading here, right? You're leveraging application insights with Power Apps and Power Automate. What are you guys gonna bring to our user group?
So we are speak about how to leverage application insight with different points of view of Power Platform solution to tracks uh, to understand the problem, to understand the flow, trace log from different point of view of our Power Platform solution.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I understand that this is around the business apps and how you can have insights, right, of what's happening within the apps, right?
Yeah.
So, well, yeah, that's interesting. Before you guys jump in, let me just introduce the user group. So if you are coming from YouTube or any other source, just introduce the user group. We're a community group of developers. We love coding. We follow best practices on software development languages and technologies. In general, we're more focused on the Microsoft stack, but we are open to any sessions about any technologies really. And we have a main goal, and our goal is the intent of the user group is to enable developers with practical knowledge to excel and launch their careers. So if you're coming with you're a junior dev, you're transitioning careers, you're a lead developer, you're always going to find really good content in our sessions. And I also would like to mention that we're part of AzureTar.com. We are a cloud native group of enthusiasts where we get to talk about the latest and greatest on the cloud native space. Also sponsored by .NETFoundation.org, which is an entity that looks after the different open source .NET projects. We have been recently sponsored by JetBrains, which is the software tooling for developers, right? In the .NET space, you tend to use Rider, but there are many other tools for you to explore. With no further ado, I'd like to give the floor to you guys. If you'd like to bring your slides, I can just share here with the audience.
Okay.
Angelo, Nicolo.
Yeah. I can share. 1 second.
All right.
Okay. Do you see my
Let's bring
slide?
it on. Yeah, it's on.
Okay. So we can start. This is the title of the session, Integrated Analytics and Automation. Basically, we are going to leverage our business application and business processes with Azure Application Insight. So, a little presentation. Let's introduce myself. I am Angelo Gulisano. I am Microsoft MVP at MCT. I work as independent Microsoft 365 consultant and Power Platform consultant. I am also a PMP contributor. I published a lot of example in Power Apps. I'm also a blogger. I have a blog, and I am also speaker. I speak at the event in all around of the Europe. Here you can see my contact, my blog, my X or Twitter account, and LinkedIn. You are free to follow me or write me if you want, or if you have any questions or something else. Nicola?
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Nicolo, and I am a modern workplace consultant at Avanade, Italy. I mostly work with Power Platform these days. and I love community. It gives me so much joy to help each other and share my knowledge with community to find out new solutions and something like that. Thanks to my social network that you can find on this slide, you can discover many contents regarding Power Platform stuff. And one of my last contribution to the community is a PCF controller for Power Up Canvasser for Power Up model driven, which is developed using a Power Up component framework, Tailwind, and React. And we are going to see it, to explore it at the end of this session demo, because it is integrated with Azure Application Insights as well. So we are going to explore how it works. And of course, I invite you all to check it out because you can find it on my GitHub account or in PCF Gallery, and share your thoughts. Back to you, Angelo.
Okay, thank you, Nicolò. So this is the agenda of today. Basically, we are introduce a little introduction of Power Platform, and then we are going to speak about monitoring in general, and then our focus move to application insight and the demo part, which is the most of content is a demo. So Power Platform is the low-code platform developed by Microsoft. Power Platform is a platform, of course, developed by Microsoft that allows us to create biz application, workflow, chatbot, sites, dashboard. There are a lot of code which we can integrate together and with external services, which allow us to create a business solution, low code business solution. We are focusing on Power Apps and Power Automate. Power Apps is the tool which allow us to create application for use that you can use from your PC, from tablet, from mobile devices, iOS or Android. And basically, with Power Apps, we have two approach to develop application. We have Canvas application. Canvas app allow us to create app with drag and drop approach. So basically, you have a canvas where you can create, draw content, and write some low code in PowerFX language is similar to Excel to drive event to do something in our application. The second one is a model-driven app. Model-driven app is a app that you build from underlying database, and the application interface is generated for you with a data-driven approach. So you can start from database, and then you have a data-driven application to do something with your database. Then we are going to see also a little demo about Power Automate. Power Automate is the tool to create a workflow, to automate tasks, to increase your business productivity. You can use Power Automate to reduce repetitive tasks like send notification, collecting data, synchronizing, etc. So, what about monitoring? Why is important monitoring, and why we use and we do some monitoring activity? Basically monitoring is an activity that enable maker or developer to view the stream of events of your application user session, to troubleshoot problem, to understand and troubleshoot problem. With the Canvas app, we have a lot of tools, and we can also, of course, use and leverage application insight. Monitoring is important because we can identify, for example, high number of network calls, understand if our application is fetching data too frequently, and with this information we are going to optimize the application to fetch data only when it's required. We can understand if our application get too much data from start, so we can optimize performance. We understand if we retrieve data from the same data source, and for example, we are going to do a caching policy to optimize our application. Figure out if we can improve our query filter to reduce the amount of data requested, reduce the size of the response. We have a lot of information that we can understand with the monitoring activity to improve our application and to improve the experience or the user experience of our application. Of course, a lot, but not least, understand if there is errors to fix on our solution. So we spoke about why, and now we are speaking about options. Basically, we are three options. We can use monitoring dashboard of Power Apps. We can use run history of Power Automate, but we can also using Azure Application Insights with all of our Power Platform solutions. So let's speak about the first one. Monitoring dashboard is included in Power Apps Studio, so it doesn't have or need extended dependencies. Monitoring Studio is a tool that offers the possibility to maker to view the stream of events from a user session to troubleshoot the problem. It is important to understand my word from user session, because in this way you don't have the history of application. For example, what's happened 1 month ago, or 1 day ago, or 1 hour ago, because you can use it from for on-demand troubleshooting. So basically, you are going to create a link, share a link with your user start the session, and you are monitoring what's happened behind the scene. So it's a runtime monitoring dashboard. We can use also Azure Application Insights. Azure Application Insights is a comprehensive monitoring solution to collecting, analyzing data, and you can collect data from different solution of your solutions, from these different services, different application. You can collect data from cloud and on-premises environment, for example, if you need. We can collect and aggregate data from a different layer and components of our solution. So you can track a log from every part of your solution, flow, Power Apps, services if you create a service, It keeps the history, so you can also do query to understand the problem from 2 days ago. And it's important, you don't need to schedule a debug session with user because all data is tracked inside the Azure Application Insight, and you can create some query to do that. Power Automate run history is included of your Power Automate. It doesn't have external dependencies, but we have a little bit problem that the history is retained for 28 days. You can see one execution at a time. You click on test running and see the single execution. It's not simple to understand if there are you can't understand and filter in a easy way the history to check exactly the date of the problem, for example. So it has a little navigation complexity to troubleshoot the problem. So
we can start with our demo.
Okay. Please,
let me share my screen.
Good.
Just a second. You should see my screen now.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. So the purpose of this demo is to illustrate how you can integrate Power Platform solution like Power App Canvas or model-driven app or Power Automate as well with Azure Application Insight. And to do that, we are going to see different application. And we are going to start from a low-code solution with a Power App Canvas. And then we are moving to a code-based solution using Dataverse plugin, or we are going to explore PCF as well. As Angelo said, Application Insight play an important role because it centralize any data of all of your application, and then you can manage all data and have a full control of your application. So it's really interesting to figure out how it works and how we can configure it with our Power Platform solution. So in this screen, I'm logging in my Azure account. And as you can see, I have already created an Application Insight resource. And when an Application Insight resource is created, you can find on top right the instrumentation key. This key is is very important because you are going to use it in your application to configure the app with Application Insight. And we are going to see in a while how to configure it in a Power App Canvas. But before, I want to share a few information about Application Insight because, as you can see, there are many sections that you can expand and that you can monitor. For example, application app that you can use to have a graph of your application that using the Application Insight instrumentation key, or you can expand monitor to have more details about logs or metrics, or definitely you can set some alerts that will be triggered when a particular log or there's a particular issue with your app. Okay, there are another session is usage, and for example, if you click on user, we can track and monitor the user session, changing the data. For example, if I change during for the last 7 days to have just more data to show you, we can select also a specific event that we can monitoring. For example, here, if I click on invoice successful printed, which is the event will be created when a PDF is created from our PCF. If I click on it, we can see that the graph, the chart down below will be updated, and now we can inspect more details and see the user session. So now if I click on view user timeline, we can see the full path that the user has done with this session, then any custom events that the user has invoked. Or you can drill down events and have more details about the events about that session. And for example, invoice successful printed. If you click on it, you can drill down and have more details about any events about that session. And of course, you can manage any request HTTP or any page view to have the control of the history and to manage potential issue. So after that, as I said, we have the overview, we have an instrumentation key. So now we can jump into my Make Power Up environment. This is the Make Power Up environment. And here I have created a new Power Up canvas. A new Power Up canvas which is integrated with Azure Application Insights thanks to this property, because if you click on this property on app, you can see that there's instrumentation key, and it's enough to paste the instrumentation key in this property. So after you have published this application, the Power Up canvas is integrated with Application Insights, and it will start to send telemetry data to our Azure Application Insight. So let me to show you this, because this is the application published. So it's an extremely application. It allows the user to complete a survey regarding their satisfaction, but we don't care about the application. We want to see just the trace log in our application, in App Insight. So I'm going fast to complete any step. Okay, there are just a few questions. We can see here a simple answer. And after you click on submit, you have to know that this application is based on Dataverse. So behind the scenes, there's a Dataverse as a data source that I have created. So there's a Dataverse table survey that created a new record when you click on a submit button. Now we can go back and I want to show this aspect, because here we have a Canvas app, and as I said, we have a Dataverse survey. So Dataverse is the data source for our application, for our business application. And the aspect that I want to share before jump again in Application Insight is the trace log. Because there's many information that Power Up Canvas send out of the box to our Application Insights, but probably in your application you want to have more control regarding some potential issue and enabling more details about logging. So if I click on submit, you can see that on property on select, there's this PowerFX expression. It's an extremely expression that we are going to examine in a while, that allow us to create and log potential error. In fact, here we have a context variable which will be evaluated after this patch, because the patch is the expression that you have to use to create a new record on a specific data source. In this case, we are using a survey database, Dataverse table, and we are creating a new record based on the previous step that you have completed. If there's an error on this patch, we are going to evaluate the local variable, the context variable, with the first error message. And in this simple if, we are checking the variable if it's empty or null. And if it's not empty or null, we are going to create a new trace log with this trace severity on your application insight. Okay. Otherwise, we are going to have this trace log. Okay. So if we go back in our application insight, we can see any trace log down monitoring tab and on click logs tab section. The application insight portal propose you some query, some pre-selected query, but for this case I want to show you just a trace. We are going to see any trace regarding this table, and as you can see here, we have the survey submitted log, okay, with severity level 1, because in our app I've set it like trace severity information. Okay, so this is the way that you can follow to create some custom log. But as I said before, we have many information regarding page view or regarding session that Power Up Canvas sending to Application Insight. And to figure out this aspect, I want to show you this tab down below usage, because user flow, it's a extremely important tab, because you can create select an event and you can create an event. For example, I want to monitor what happened starting from page view, and even in this case I select 7 days to have more details. And after clicking graph, Application Insight will create for us maybe, okay, this size is good, I
It is
think.
okay.
Yeah, that's good.
I think, okay, great. And as you can see here, Application Insight is creating a graph chart that you can monitor to have more control about user experience, and to have more control as well regarding the step that the user do. For example, I can see here that there's 11 sessions that is terminated from home screen. So you could see and examine this aspect and try to figure out why it's happened. Okay. Or you can see the entire full path question that home screen, from home screen to question 1, and so on. So it gives us an extremely important metrics that, as I said, you can retrieve, collect by default, and manage all of this data to improve your application. Not just for a Canvas app, for any application, but I wanted to show you what's happening with a Canvas app. Okay. And another interesting things about Power Up Canvas is figure out and understand the connector, because a Power Up Canvas, Power Platform, offer us many connector, and you have to imagine a connector like an API wrapper that allow us to consume more easily for citizen developer, more easier the API. For example, you have here the Dataverse connector, and thanks the patch function, you can retrieve or do some CRUD operation in a very extremely easily way. But you have to imagine that in real life, could be that your connector is missing. What I mean, In real life, you can imagine that you have a backend team which develop their custom API, okay, published, deployed on a Azure service or somewhere, okay, and you as a citizen developer, you need to integrate with them API REST. So to satisfy this need, the Power Platform allow us to create a custom connector. Okay, so I've created a custom connector, and custom connector is a wrapper of API. So you are going to create your custom connector, and to show you how it's work, I've used this public service recrest.in. We are going to use this open API to configure our custom connector, then using on our Power Up canvas. And I want to show you how you can configure your custom connector. For example, from General tab, you can define the schema, the host name, and the base path. Here we have our base path because, as you can see, any API has base path API. So we can configure it. Then we can move to the next tab. This is the tab, the security tab, where you can define the authentication of your API. In this case, our API are free, are public, so there's no need to specify a particular authentication, but you have to know that here you can set the OAuth authentication with Azure provider, or you can pass client ID and client secret. And this is important, this aspect, because when you want to use this custom connector in your application, you have to create a new connection. Okay, so a new connection which has a connection reference with any information regarding the token. Okay, stored in Power Platform architecture, let me say. And in this case, as I said, it's not necessary to specify a particular authentication, so we can move to the next tab, definition. And here I've configured some actions. For example, the first one, get user list. Here you can simply import from sample. As you can see, you can define the verb and the endpoint for our API. So in this case, it will be like for a citizen developer, it should be more easy because it's enough to copy the endpoint with the query parameter as well, paste here, click on get, set some header attribute if there's need, and click on import. After you have clicked on import, you can see Power Platform detect any information, and here we have the query parameter for this API. Also you can configure the response as well. We have the entire body of the response, and even in this case, you can copy all and paste on it from import, and then the Power Platform, this environment is going to detect any property, and is going to detect any property. And it's extremely useful because it allows us to have a binding. So when you are going to use this connector in your Power Up canvas or in your Power Automate, you already have the binding, the full property accessible. Okay, so after that, you can test the connection, creating a new connection, and you can test the API before to using in your custom in your Canvas app or in your Power Automate. Now, if we go back to our Power Up canvas, as you can see, I have already imported my custom connector request API, and I have created another section. Let me show this section from the published app. Here, what we have here, we have a simple tab where we are going to control and test the API we have created in your custom connector. If I click on test, as you can see here, we retrieve the information about user ID. And if I click on 12, insert user ID 12, and then click, we have another. Let me try with 18, probably it doesn't exist. Okay, we are going to have an error. 404, we can test the get entire list, and we can test the unsuccessful, where here I have inserted already a post body without a password to create this error. And yeah, the Power Up Canvas is going to send the data telemetry to Application Insight. But before to jump back in our Application Insight to show you the trace log that I have created, I want to show you how you can debug locally your Power Up Canvas, because as Angelo said before, we have a capability to enable monitoring session, but it's an on-demand request, and there's not store of this metric. It's extremely useful when you have to figure out what's happening in your Canvas app. And for example, if I click on test, we can see that here we have the entire request, that we can expect the property, the formula, and anything else. For example, here request, we have the request. This is the resource of the for the custom connector. We have the response body, and we have more details about our Power Up Canvas. For example, here if I click on this unsuccessful register, we can see that there's an error, bad request 400, and we can see the body as well that we are going to send to the API. Okay, so but it's all of this monitor will not be stored from anywhere. So even in this case, you have to collect this data, and one of the things that you can do is exactly using a Azure Application Insight. So if we go back on your Application Insight and expand the logs, I don't want to say it. Let's execute this query. As you can see here, we have the error code 404. Okay, get single user ID 18 is missing with the severity level 3. This happened because here in a test I have insert like the case that we have examined before, the control, the check if there's an error. I want to send a custom log. But if you don't have the how can I say, the log, the custom log like this, the Application Insight, the custom connector, send the telemetry to our Application Insights, and you can expect it from dependencies table, for example. And here you can see the entire path. It takes a while to retrieve this information, but here you can see for example, this one, the register, because this is the table. The dependencies table is the table which role and manage the call from application to another application or another system, external system. And here you have many information about HTTP request. Okay, so we are going to traces. So at this moment, we have seen how we can work with Power Up Canvas and custom connector as well. You have to know that there's a huge and important feature released from some months ago. And if you are a global admin and a global system administrator of the tenant, you can go in admin power platform, and down analytics, you can see data export. Thanks to this feature, we are saying to our environment and to send the telemetry to Azure Application Insights or a data lake, but it's in a preview mode. So if you click on Application Insight and you select a new data export, if I click here on test, coding night, you can see that you can select Dataverse diagnostic and performance or Power Automate as well. If we click on Dataverse, you have to select a new environment that has to be managed. Click on select, and now you have to specify the Azure Application Insight. But as you can see here, if I click on Go to Azure, you have to specify an application insight in this tenant, okay? But as you can see in this tenant, I don't have a license, okay? So to enable this feature and send any data telemetry to Application Insight, you have to specify an Azure Application Insight in the same tenant. Okay, and it will and this data export will send any data about your Dataverse environment, for example, and then in your Azure Application Insight, you can drill down using App ID, for example, no, to have more details. But in this case, I want to show you a workaround. It's not a documented workaround. I want to show you how you can set another application insight from another environment to this model driven, because we want to see how we can trace the model driven log. Okay, so first of all, I want to show you how you can configure this. And I've prepared a console application which, thanks to this configuration, if I go in my app config, you can see that here we have a connection string, and in this connection string, I specified an out type client secret passing the domain. Okay, if I go here and go back here and click on my dev env, you can see this is the domain, the environment URL, and I pass the client ID, a client secret as well. What I've done, I going here, click open model driven. So in my Enter ID account, I have created a new application app registration here, as you can see, Dataverse Web API. And for this app registration, I have selected on API permission, the API permission Dynamics CRM. Okay, this allows us to give the permission to read or write or something else to operate with the Dataverse. And then I have created a client ID, a client secret. Okay, so if I come back in my console application, thanks to this connection string, we are going to create a new instance of a service client that we can use to retrieve information from Dataverse. And if the connection works properly, we are going to retrieve information from organization. So this is the reason that I said why I said before, pay attention to this solution, because it's just for the purpose of this demo. Okay, here you are retrieve organization information, and then as you can see here, I'm going to write the app insight key, the instrumentation key, and enable the origin insight. Okay, this console application, after update, allow us to configure our environment with this application insight. So now we are ready to send telemetry from our model-driven or other app, other stuff like plugin or PCF from to our application insight that we are using. So before to see this plugin, I want to show you a model driven that I have prepared. This is an extremely simple model driven. A model driven is, as you can see, is different from Power Up Canvas because we have already a predefined interface based on Fluent UI, and with model driven you can add your custom code as well. There are few aspects there are few solutions that you can allow with creating a custom code, for example plugin or web resource with JavaScript. And this model driven is created to manage the library, to manage the book with a student request. I mean, we have the Dataverse table book where you can see here we have a few books with quantity, and here we have a simple student list, just two. And as you can see here, we have already some book that this student has requested. So if you click on the student card, the details, you can see here that we have a subgrid table which show us the library requested borrowed by that student. So if we create a new request, you can see here that we have this general form, where you can specify or ESBN book and add this to the student. So what I want to do, the thing that I want to do is check and prevent some error regarding, for example, the quantity. It's very simple scenario. And so, I mean, if the quantity of the book that you have selected here is equal to 0, I want to prevent the transaction on the DB, and I want to show up a pop-up to show the error. Okay, so one way to do this is creating a Dataverse plugin. A Dataverse plugin, you have to know that is a C# code which will be execute in a Dataverse context. And the main aspect that you have to know that is that you can define a particular moment when this plugin will be executed. I mean, in a plugin queue, you have to imagine that there's a four step. The first step is a pre-validation step, so you can register a plugin in pre-validation. Then we have a pre-operation, and after that we have the DB, the transaction on DB, where you cannot register custom code there. And then we have a post operation. You have a post operation. So you can, as I said, you can write your custom code and register this plugin in one of these step. And this plugin will be registered on event create. So we are going to see in a while, but on event create, when you click save, the execution of plugin will run, and in the pipe pre-validation, this plugin will be run. So more details about the plugin. As you can see at top, we need to retrieve the service that we need on our plugin, and the main service that you have to have in your plugin to send data telemetry from a model driven to application insight is iLogger service. So implementing iLogger service, you are enabled to send data telemetry from model driven to to Application Insight. Then we have to retrieve some other service like organization service to create some query. And after some check regarding the entity and the target about the input parameter, you can see that here, exactly here, I'm going to retrieve some information from the book table, because here we have from the input parameter here, we have input parameter, and here we have the reference from this entity of book. Here I'm going to retrieve some information using the GUID of the book, and I'm going to retrieve just the column NF quantity. This is the logical name of the column. And using this column, I'm going to check the validation, because it's extremely simple. If this current quantity is equal to 0, we are going to throw a new exception. And when we throw a new exception, we catch the exception, and thanks to log all error, we are going to send this error to Application Insight. So as I said, to register a plugin, you have to use this tool, plugin registration tool. There are other tools, but this one of them that you can use. And you have to register the assembly. So after you have built your plugin, you have to add your DLL here in register your assembly. And after you have registered your assembly, you create a new step. And you can see here that there's a few information to configure your plugin. For example, here the event message which will run our plugin is, for example, create. Okay, and another. Okay, create. Just create is good. Create, and then we have to select the pre-validation. Let me register new step. You can select the message, and then you can select even the pipeline stage. As you can see here, we have pre-validation, pre-operation, and post-operation. So we are going to register our plugin in pre-operation. If we go back in our model-driven, and let me say one of the book that has a quantity equal to 0, so this one with ESBN 1802. So we are going to go to our student, click student details, click on new one, and select this ESBN. If I click on save, first time it takes a while, but as you can see, we are prevent the transaction GB, and we are showing up a model pop-up with some details and error. If we select another book, I don't know, well, we can try with this one. We are not lucky. Let me see. Another one, 1834. Okay, we go back again. We try again, 1834. If we click save, as you can see, the record is created. And if we go back, you can see that here we have the book associated to this student. And if you go in students, if you go in book table, you can see the quantity is decreased. Now, if we go on our Application Insight and click on trace again, we can see that we have from plugin model driven severity level 1, because we have this log information, and then we have the selected book. Selected book is not available. Okay, so we are sending the data from our model driven to Application Insight. And you can use all of these events to create your aggregate data and export to a dashboard like Power BI as well. Okay. Another kind of customization that you can do in your model driven or in your Power Platform solution is to create your custom code using, for example, React, because you need a particular specific control to do a specific thing. So to represent it, I've created a PCF. As I said, at start of this session. This PCF is developed using Power App Component Framework, and thanks to this framework, you can create custom control using React if you want, and other dependencies with traditional code base solution. So I want to show you how it works. So if you click on Show Preview, we can see a simple invoices, and you can click on Print. We are going where we are going to print our PDF. Click on Print, save in desktop, file, PDF. Okay, and everything works. Here, the code to figure out how it works, the PCF. We have the index.ts. This PCF is based on React and Tailwind. I use Tailwind to create a easily and template of a PDF that you can control. But here in the init, we have this is the framework method, which allow us to which will be executed on creation of the control. So in this case, we are going just to create to add a simple regex to validate the instrumentation key that we are going to define and pass as parameters. All the parameters that you want to use, you can add in your XML file. Okay, and then we are going to create a new instance of Application Insight and trace a simple trace event log. And then we have this method of the Power App Component Framework, which will be called when any value in the property back has changed. Here, as you can see, we are going to create a new element, React element, defining the React element up and passing this prop. And at last, we have a destroy method where it will be invoked when you move out from the current page, and it allows us to destroy this component from the DOM. Okay, it's a way to clean up everything. If we go on click on app, here we have a simple app component. You have to just know that here in use effect, we are going to execute I'm going to execute the load data, and the load data, it's a simple fetch this open API, this open project fixed store repository that you can consult, which offer us some information, a fixed store with some product, and then we are going to use a product and save in the states. We are checking the control, and the main aspect that you have to see is the component invoice. In this component, as I said, is a Tailwind template. So here we are going to pass the product of that we have retrieved and pass to the component to use on this PCF to template. And here you can see that we have an event with this callback. So using the app insight that the reference of the instance app insight that we have passed to the component, we can track this event, and this is a callback on this event on print error or on after print. We are going to write invoice successful print to Application Insights. So if we go back on Application Insights, and now we don't have to see trace because we are creating custom events, in this case, not trace. You can see that here we have the information about the init of PCF. Destroy PCF is another session, but you have the history, and you control what's happening when you are using the PCF as well. Here, like you can see, we have invoice successful printed. Okay. So thanks to this demo, you have seen how you can integrate Canvas, custom connector, model-driven app, and PCF file. As we have saw in Admin Center, we have the capability to trace and monitor Power Automate as well. Here we can see Power Automate, select Power Automate. And to do that, Angelo has prepared a brief, another demo session to illustrate you all how you can integrate Power Automate with Application Insight without using data export. So back to you, Angelo.
Thank you. So give us, we are a little bit late, but give us another 5 minutes.
Good. Yeah.
Thank you, Marcel. So basically, if you don't have the possibility, I'm going to share my screen first of all.
In the meantime, we got like this question, Nicolo. I think that was related to the plugin, like one of the questions you answered during the demo, like, is there any plugins or monitor agents to be installed, collect some monitoring data and send it to the platform? I think this one would be related to the Dataverse, right? That you're
I
showing
think
with the
so.
plugin.
Yeah. Regarding a plugin, as I show you, it's just a C# code. So there's not other kind of plugin that you have to install from other resources. It's a C# code that you develop, test in local, and then you register your DLL on Dataverse environment.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Okay. So do you see my screen? Okay, maybe
Yep.
yes. Okay. So we are here at the same instance of Azure Application Insight that we see before with the all logs from my friend Nicola. Basically, if you don't have a license and we don't can use managed environment, what we can do to track login from Power Automate Flow. Basically, the idea is that in Power Automate Flow we can create some custom call to REST endpoint, and the idea is to call to give an API call to track some log or events in Azure Application Insight. But we can do this directly because there is not direct API to post traces and logs. So to achieve that, an option is to create an Azure function to do that. So just to do a different work from my friend Nicola, that he show you a C# piece of code to trace. I create an Azure function with TypeScript and Node.js. So the idea is to create an Azure function to trace some custom log, some log in Application Insight. So it's really simple. Our Azure function is app inside trace. Actually, I protected my Azure function with function authorization level. And basically, you get data from request, the data that I pass from request, and quite simple. So I explicitly load the Application Insight library. I configure with this method setup the instrumentation key of our Application Insight. Probably we are going to destroy this instance after our meeting. and then call a start method. So after that, the idea is to call the track trace method from default client property of our application insight library, passing message and some custom properties. Some custom properties to have a lot of options to trace other information with and not just a message. Then our Azure function return status 200 and then event trace it, or if there are error, if give us error. First of all, we can test locally our Azure function. So we are just simply start and give us, I configure just a post method just a post method to our function. So I can try with Postman. The idea is, as I told you, I have protected with function security level my Azure function. So I pass the X function key parameter to here, and the content type is JSON. Then here we have a post method and the local address of our Azure function, and as I showed you before, we have a message and properties with the custom object. Properties and message. So I send a call, and here it's okay. If I come back to our application insight, one second. Trying to refresh. Okay, test local trace is done. So we have our message, right, timestamp, security level, okay, some information about the caller, and in custom dimension properties, I have 3 custom property, which is environment name, error, and flow name. Of course, you can create what property you need. Basically, simple build your custom object. And for this demo, I just published. Here we are tested our API in our Azure function locally. I just deployed my Azure environment this API. So I have this URL of our API deployed, but I can call it also from Azure Application Insight. It's the same API. Okay, haven't traced. Okay, I have the second one. So now, where we are ensure that all is okay, we come back to our Power Platform environment, and particularly I created a Power Automate flow, which is triggered manually. So the idea is to done a request of smart working request with a simple approval functionality. So the user pass the smart date of the date for smart working, and the also all logic is here. So we are going to do an HTTP request to our URL endpoint or our Azure function deployed with post method. We pass content type application JSON and function key to our protected Azure function, and then we are going to pass body. In this case, for example, here I have after flow start, the first call is to our Azure function, so I wrote flow started with some custom properties and no error. And just for example, I tracked also flow ends. Of course, here you can, for example, trace if approvals was done, was approved or was rejected. In this case, I send a simple email, but in real case, you can track everything. You can also use application scope to track if your flow go to error, and in this case track error with your Azure function. So just 1 minute. And we are going to test our flow. Publishing. Probably is an old session. 1 second. Okay, this is the development environment, so it's a little bit slow. Okay, test manually. And run test. So now Power Automate should be show us the flow. Maybe there are some problems. The famous demo effect. Okay, so test running. Okay. The call was done. So we should receive an email like this one. Okay. And here we have approvals to yes, to approve that our employee can work from home or not. But our goal here is to trace one second. Okay, flow started. Okay. So here we have a log from our Power Automate flow started, and then if you are going to submit our reject our request,
Yeah.
we can also done the previous one. Okay. Now the work, the flow go on, and then was ended. And now if we come back to our application inside instance, wait from we should see
Few seconds.
flow end.
Should
Yeah.
come.
Yeah. Little bit time to refresh, but
should come. I've seen case where like sometimes
here
App Insights just hangs, but oh, that's awesome.
Okay, So this is one way to track some event for your Power Automate flow and mix all together with your Canvas app, as Nicolò showed you, and track everything in one place. So thanks for follow our demo. We come back to slide. We are here if you have any questions, and that's all.
No, awesome. I got a question. Do you guys have like the source code for the demos on a public
Yeah.
repo that you could
Yeah.
share? I think
Yeah.
like what what Nicolo and Angelo, what you guys have shared, maybe people are interested.
Yeah, of course. You can consult my GitHub account and you already find out the PCF control, which one developed with React. And yeah, I will push the plugin as well in a repo.
Okay.
All right.
I have also repo from my simple Azure function, so I'm going to public as public and remove the key, and then I push everything on my GitHub repo. Then I share with you, Marcel.
Yeah, on the meetup, and then people just put like under the comment section of the meetup. Yeah, the ones interested are gonna jump in and explore for sure. The questions we had, like the one that we had was around the plugin that I raised to Nicolo, and yeah, I think that's us for today, tonight here in New Zealand. Yeah, I'd like just to thank you guys for reaching out and bringing like this session. It's really interesting, and I can see, well, we call it like low code, but yeah, there are lots of complexities under the how things are set up in different ways. How can things can be set up like on Power Platform or with Power Apps. And no, yeah, really appreciate like the time you guys bring this session. Was really interesting. And if you guys have like more sessions in the future, just feel free to reach out and we can organize more sessions.
Thank you
so much,
pleasure.
Marcel. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Nice. And for the audience, well, I think this is us. Thank you for hanging like up to a little bit more. But I hope like that the content that was presented by Angelo and Nicolo was very useful to you, like to understand how the Power Apps, the Power Platform works, and how you can hook logging right onto your apps. And we're gonna have more sessions coming up. Just stay tuned on the meetup. And when it comes, we have like monthly sessions at least. And then yeah, just stick around on the meetup and you're gonna get like updates from there. Well, have a good evening and catch you guys later. Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.